Now, my next guest is an impeccably suave actor whose TV roles have made him a big star, not only here, but in the United States. He's been voted one of the sexiest men in sci-fi, thanks to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And as Prime Minister in Little Britain, he regularly has to fend off his amorous assistant, Sebastian. Not bad for a lad that had to drink 10 gallons of coffee before he finally got lucky in the old Gold Blend adverts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Anthony Head. Sit you down. Nigel Havers, who was on, told us plenty about you. He said your behaviour was appalling when you were doing that man-child thing together.
Oh, we had a good time.
You had?
Oh,
old geezers chatting up young ones.
Yeah. I just, you know, put him and me and Ray Burtis and Don Warrington together. We just had fun.
You have to, though. Christopher Lee, a couple of weeks ago on this programme. No, wasn't he? No, he's been in everything else. Too tall for you, eh? But he said, you've got to have fun. He felt that in today's movies, there's not enough fun.
You can't take yourself too seriously. I think that's the point. If you take yourself seriously, it's a downward spiral from there on.
It is, though.
But I mean, you know, yeah, have fun. But I mean, I always, the great thing about the job is the fact that it's such a challenge. And long may it be so, because, you know, I mean, if it ceased to be a challenge, I might just get, you know, bored.
I know, I nod off during this. When you first... Now, do you mind me dragging up once again? You must never hear the end. When you come back here, in America, no one would have seen you on the coffee ads.
Oh, no, because it ran there too.
Oh, did it?
Yes, it ran for 5 years.
So you had to endure it there as well?
Well, I thank, you know, somebody, some guardian angel.
Made you a star?
Well, yeah, I mean, and, you know, the bottom line is it gave me a reason to go over there, and it gave me a reason to be seen over there. That's how I got an agent over there, was because it was a big success over there too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we've most recently seen you starring in Little Britain, which I'm bound to say, for a heterosexual man of the world, as a Prime Minister who's being lusted after by his secretary, who's been forced into dancing with him and undoubtedly will end up...
We did dance very well, didn't we?
Oh.
To Careless Whisper. It was a marvellous moment.
How did it happen that those two rascals dragged you into this?
Well, that was... I mean, they were Buffy fans. They sent me the scripts for the pilot. And... I mean, I found the premise very funny. I thought it was a great idea, you know, this personal secretary being very personal. You know, I couldn't see beyond it just being, you know, I mean, there were 3 sketches, and basically very much the same thing happened in each of them. I was thinking, well, yeah, it's funny, but I don't know how it's, you know, how could this last for a series? And then my agent, who'd heard the radio series, and I'd been in America when it was on, she said, no, you have to do it, must do it. So I went along and met them. And they were just so lovely and they're just really, really nice guys and just so funny. And I, of course, realised once we started to rehearse, you know, that it's not just about the words, it's about the characterisation and about, you know, basically what you make of it. And they are absolutely brilliant. The characters that they create are just so, well, I was going to say well-rounded, but that sounds rude in some way. But they are, you know, they pay such attention to detail, and they watch out for each other in each other's sketches. Yeah. And you know, when Matt's doing something, David will come up and sort of whisper something in his ear, and then something will change, just little nuances. And I mean, people always say, "How do I keep a straight face?" But it's quite a serious business. They take it very seriously, and you know, when you've got a studio audience in, you know, you've only got about sort of 3 takes, pretty much, on each sketch. Otherwise, they start to run over. So there's pressure.
Are we eventually going to see the pair of you become as one?
Well, I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, we've gone quite far. We've come to the end of the 3rd series. You've seen me, to my children's chagrin, you've seen me virtually naked in a posing pouch and a feather duster. And the kids had to go to school after that as well.
Oh.
No, it's not on.
Desperate.
And I did say there was a point when I was trying desperately to work out something, you know, I was saying, look, you know, there's another sketch when David takes his clothes off, and I said, you know, don't want them to be too close to each other. Perhaps I could sort of dress up as some gay, iconic figure, maybe one of you know, the YMCA lot, you know, the Village People. And the producer, sort of after I'd gone into this for some length, he said, have you got a problem with taking your clothes off? No, it's fine. Carry on. So we did. But I armed myself with a feather duster. But I don't know where it'll go. I mean, we've kissed, and I've kissed Gregory too, and that's kind of, I don't know. I hope it doesn't go any further.
You're a huge star in the States, thanks to Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
Was that a surprise?
Yeah. I mean, you know, you couldn't. If I wanted to, when I went over there, it was basically because stuff here. I mean, I was being asked to do a lot of theatre, and film and TV was sort of just. My agent was quoted. Somebody said to her, "This is a serious drama. We don't want people reaching for their coffee jars." And so there was that kind of
typecasting.
That kind of thing. So it felt kind of logical to actually see if we could open the marketplace up. And as I say, it was a huge success out in America. So off I went. I did another series called VR5, which was on Fox, which ran for 13 episodes and didn't get picked up. And so when I went back a couple of times, and finally I read the script of Buffy and thought it was absolute genius. And got it. And we were doing the pilot, which was a funny, shoddy affair. It wasn't even a pilot. They wouldn't. I mean, nobody thought it was going to do anything. You know, WB and Fox just thought we'll just see what happens. And we did a half-hour presentation, which was sort of like a cut-down version of the pilot. And the crew was very odd. There were a bunch of people who sort of weren't working on the rest of the things that were being made. Joss Whedon, who wrote it, was directing for the first time, and they didn't believe in him at all. They took the mickey out of him. And there was one point when Joss and I and Sarah and Michelle were standing backstage waiting to go on and do something. We were just chatting, and I said, "Look, is this going to be a success? I don't know. I can't tell." And he said, "Oh yeah." He said, "Basically, nobody gets what this is." He says, "The studio don't get it, and the network don't get it. All the suits have no idea what this is. But gradually, the public out there will hook onto it, and it'll be spread word of mouth, and it'll be worldwide." And you know, he was right.
It happened. There's very few people have that kind of gift to be able to predict what's going to happen on
He is
television, because most of what happens
he's
by
extraordinary.
accident.
And the bottom line is that, you know, whenever you could always tell when a script had not been passed by Joss, because it just didn't have his magic. And as soon as he sort of waved his little wand over it, it was just a completely different.
What's the difference between being a successful, famous face in the States and being a successful, famous face here?
I mean, in terms of what I've perceived, I mean, I go to lots of fan conventions, and, you know, fans both sides of the Atlantic are really lovely. I mean, you know, you get all manner of people, and it's usually pretty much about they just want to meet their TV hero. I mean, in terms of, you have to really work at it over there. I mean, for instance, I've just gone over there now. I was going to do pilot season, and as it turns out, I tested for something in England, and I'm going to be doing a pilot out there. But you kind of have to dip your toe in the water every now and then, because otherwise they forget about you very quickly. But, I mean, they do really work at it, and all the press angle and all that stuff, you know. And I'm not terribly good at all that, you know. It's sort of...
Don't tell me you're too shy.
No. No, but, you know, I mean, I found myself at one point, you know, you'd stand around the craft services table around Sarah Michelle and Alison Hannigan, and they would be talking about, you know, what the cover of what magazine they've been on and this, you know, and I was thinking, well, I haven't been on any magazines. Well, no. I mean, it's, you know, you have to really attack it aggressively, and I don't, you know, the English aren't really given to that. That's it, you know,
no.
We're not shy, but we're just kind of, you know, it's the old English, you know, you don't put your head up above the parapet, you know, otherwise you get your head lopped off. It's the tall poppy. The tall poppy syndrome.
Now look, given the slightly eccentric nature and the huge population in America, did it not attract a minuscule audience of loonies who would have thought that you were the devil himself?
Not many sort of that came up to me and said, "Are you the devil himself?" I did actually attract an enormous audience of librarians. I became the hero of librarians. And in fact, when I was researching the part, and I went to an American high school, and I went to an American high school library to sort of see, you know, how it works. And this very sweet librarian thanked me from the bottom of her heart and said, "Finally, you're going to be able to speak for librarians." And I was like, you have no idea what this is about. But strangely, I ended up on the cover of the American Librarian magazine and became a hero.
Hey! A hero to librarians
Absolutely.
everywhere. And rightly so.
But now I do tell them I blew up my library.
Was it a strain? for your family, you being separated?
Yes, it was. When we originally talked about it, Sarah, my partner, she said, "Look, I think this has to be done, and I am prepared to stay." She became a single mother pretty much, and I was away for about 8.5, 9 months a year. And I take my hat off to Sarah for being such an extraordinary, patient and lovely woman.
If we may take you on to your latest gig, is with Elton John.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, I tested for this thing. Basically, it's an American comedy show. It's a single camera, so it's like Sex and the City. It's not a sitcom, and it's written by one of the Sex and the City writers, and it's produced by one of the producers of Desperate Housewives. And Elton is he's an executive producer, and it's basically about a rock and roll star. It's not based on Elton, as the papers said, and it's about a rock star, one of these sort of very high maintenance, he's sort of like a peer of rock and roll. Been in the game for quite a while, touring for a long time, and it's about the relationship between him and his manager.
Is he gay?
He is.
And it's not based in any way on it?
No. No, the bottom line, because the thing is, it could be about sex and drugs and rock and roll, and we've seen that so many times, but we haven't seen this. It's very funny, and he's very demanding. He's a diva, basically. And so, I'm sure Elton must have sort of added some anecdotes in there somewhere, but it's, for one thing, I don't think they would have chosen me to play Elton, do you know what I mean? I'm slightly...
Too small?
I am definitely too small. But anyway, I've just been out in Las Vegas recording with him. He's written 2 songs for the show, and I did the vocals on it, and it's very exciting. It's very cool.
Musical family, you?
Seems to be. Yeah. My mum sang a lot.
Yeah.
She didn't make a career out of it. Murray, my brother, has
Murray
had a great career out of it. Yeah.
Well, we won't ask you to burst into song, but I'll just thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Head.